As you begin to nurture this practice of compassion, you may notice something remarkable happening within you. The more you give, the more you receive. Your heart will expand, your mind will quiet, and your relationships with others will become richer and deeper. You will find that your inner strength grows, not through resistance or force, but through understanding, patience, and love. In every moment, you have the opportunity to choose compassion. You can choose to be kind, to offer comfort, to listen, to understand, and to act with empathy. It's a choice that builds over time, like a muscle that strengthens with use. And the more you practice it, the more you will see its power to transform not only your life but the lives of those around you. The beauty of compassion is that it is not something you need to find or acquire. It is already within you. It's a part of your nature, a quiet strength waiting to be awakened. All it takes is the intention to cultivate it, to allow it to grow and flourish in your heart. In the end, compassion is the key to overcoming not just external obstacles, but the internal struggles that often keep us trapped in negativity and fear. When you choose compassion, you choose peace. When you choose compassion, you choose freedom. So, let us walk this path of compassion together. Let us be the ones who extend a hand when others fall, the ones who offer a kind word when the world seems harsh. Let compassion be the inner strength that guides us through every challenge, knowing that in every act of kindness, we are not only helping others, but also ourselves. Facing suffering without fear. Suffering is a part of life. We all experience it, in one form or another, throughout our lives. It may come in the form of physical pain, emotional loss, or the disappointment of unfulfilled dreams. But no matter how hard we try, we cannot escape suffering. It's always there, lurking in the background, ready to remind us of the impermanence of our lives. The question is, how do we face it? How do we navigate through suffering without letting it consume us? The answer, my friend, lies in how we approach it. In Buddhism, suffering is not something to be feared or avoided. It's something to be understood, accepted, and transcended. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a heavy stone in your hand. At first, it's just a small weight, manageable and easy to carry. But as you hold it longer, your hand begins to ache, your arm grows tired, and soon, the weight becomes unbearable. Now, what if I told you that this stone was not actually heavy at all? What if I told you that the weight you feel is not in the stone itself, but in how tightly you are gripping it? This is what suffering often feels like. We cling to our pain, to our grief, to our disappointment, and that is what makes it so unbearable. The more we hold on to it, the heavier it becomes. But if we could learn to release our grip, even just a little, the weight would become lighter, and we would find ourselves able to carry it more easily. This is the first step in facing suffering without fear, recognizing that suffering is not an enemy. It is simply part of the human experience. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises from attachment. We attach ourselves to things, people, and experiences, thinking that they will bring us lasting happiness. But when these things change, as they inevitably do, we are left with a sense of loss, and with it, suffering. The key, then, is not to avoid attachment, but to understand its impermanence. Let me share a simple story. There was once a wise monk who had spent years meditating in a remote temple. One day, a young man came to him, seeking advice on how to end his suffering. He asked the monk, "Master, I am in great pain. My heart is heavy, and I cannot find peace. What should I do?" The monk replied, "You are suffering because you are holding on to something that is not meant to last. Imagine a flower that blooms in the morning and withers by evening. You do not mourn its passing because you know it was never meant to stay. So too, your pain will pass, but only when you learn to let it go." The young man was puzzled and asked, "But how can I let go of my pain? It feels so real, so overwhelming." The monk smiled gently and said, "Suffering is like a cloud in the sky. It comes, but it also goes. The more you focus on it, the longer it lingers. But if you simply allow it to pass without clinging to it, you will find that it fades away. Pain is temporary, but the peace you find in letting go is everlasting." This lesson is profound. It teaches us that suffering is not something we need to fight or resist. The more we struggle with it, the more power we give it. Instead, we must learn to let it come and go, just like the seasons. We must understand that it is not permanent, and neither are the feelings that arise with it. By practicing non-attachment, we can move through suffering with a sense of equanimity, knowing that it will eventually pass. Another aspect of facing suffering without fear is understanding the nature of our own minds. When we are in pain, it is easy to become overwhelmed by our thoughts. We replay the events that caused our suffering over and over, and in doing so, we only deepen our pain. We create stories in our minds about how unfair life is, how we have been wronged, how we will never be happy again. But these stories are not reality. They are simply the mind's way of processing pain, often in a distorted and exaggerated way. In Buddhism, we learn to observe our thoughts without identifying with them. We learn to recognize that our thoughts are not who we are. When we face suffering, we can observe our thoughts without judgment or attachment. We can simply watch them pass by, like clouds in the sky, knowing that they do not define us. This practice of mindfulness allows us to see suffering for what it is, a temporary experience, not a permanent state of being. This doesn't mean that we ignore our pain or pretend it isn't real. It means that we learn to hold it without fear, to sit with it without letting it take over. We acknowledge our suffering, but we do not allow it to control us. We remember that we are more than our pain, more than our thoughts, more than our emotions. We are the awareness that observes them all. One of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism is the concept of impermanence. Everything in life is constantly changing, and nothing stays the same forever. This includes our suffering. It is easy to think that when we are in pain, it will last forever. But the truth is, it won't. Just as joy and happiness come and go, so too does suffering. And when we remember this, we are able to face our pain with a sense of hope and trust, knowing that it will eventually fade. In addition to understanding impermanence, another important teaching in Buddhism is the practice of compassion. Compassion is not just for others, it is also for ourselves. When we face suffering, we often become harsh and critical of ourselves. We think that we should be stronger, that we should be able to handle our pain better. But this only adds to our suffering. Compassion allows us to be gentle with ourselves, to acknowledge our pain without judgment, and to treat ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a friend. Through compassion, we can begin to heal from within. We can begin to recognize that our suffering does not make us weak, but human. We can forgive ourselves for our perceived shortcomings and accept that we are doing the best we can in the given moment. With compassion, we can release the burden of guilt and self-blame that often accompanies suffering and begin to move forward with a sense of peace and acceptance. The path to overcoming suffering is not an easy one. It takes practice, patience, and a willingness to face the discomfort that comes with change. But it is possible. It is possible to move through pain without being consumed by it. It is possible to face suffering without fear. The key lies in understanding that suffering is a natural part of life, that it is impermanent, and that we have the power to transform it through mindfulness, compassion, and non-attachment. As you go through life, remember this: you are not your suffering. You are the one who experiences it, but you are also the one who has the power to release it. You are the one who can choose to face it with calm and equanimity. The waves may crash around you, but you are the ocean, vast and deep, always capable of returning to peace. Breaking the chains of desire and aversion. Sit down for a moment. Just breathe. Don't rush. Let's take a gentle step together into something very important, something that causes more suffering than most people ever realize. We're going to speak about desire and aversion. These are two forces that pull the mind around like a puppet on strings. They are the hidden causes behind most of your stress, your sadness, your restlessness, and your exhaustion. Now listen carefully, like you are hearing something your heart has waited a long time to remember. Desire is not just wanting something beautiful or exciting. It's deeper than that. It's the feeling that you cannot be happy until you get it. It could be a new phone, a peaceful moment, someone's love, a job, respect, or even something simple like silence. When the mind clings to that desire, it begins to suffer. Why? Because the moment says, I am not enough. I will only be enough when that thing arrives. Aversion is just the other side of the same coin. It's when something unpleasant appears, and the mind says, no, not this. I don't want this. Take this away. It could be noise, illness, anger, criticism, or loneliness. You feel the mind pushing it away like a child refusing bitter medicine. But the more you resist, the more pain you feel. So, what is the problem? Is it the thing itself? No. It is the clinging to what you want and the resisting of what you don't want. These two movements, grasping and pushing, are happening in your mind all the time. Every single day. In big ways and in small ones. And every time they arise, they pull you out of peace. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you are walking on a quiet road, and suddenly it starts to rain. You didn't bring an umbrella. The rain falls on your shoulders. What does your mind do? Ugh, this is terrible. I'll get sick. Why now? I hate this. Now you are no longer just wet, you are also miserable. The rain didn't cause that suffering. Your resistance did. Or perhaps you see a new car someone else bought. It looks perfect. Suddenly, your mind whispers, I want that. My car is old. I would be happier if I had that. You were fine 5 minutes ago, but now your heart is unsettled. Again, the car is not the cause of pain. The grasping is. Now, I am not telling you to reject joy or ignore discomfort. No, I am telling you to observe how your mind reacts. If you watch closely, you will see that most of your suffering does not come from what is happening. It comes from your relationship with what is happening. This is what Buddhism teaches again and again. The mind creates suffering through clinging and pushing. So, what can we do? We begin by watching. When desire arises, don't fight it, just notice it. Be curious. Watch it come. Watch what it tells you. If I get this, I will feel complete. Gently smile and say, ah, here you are again. Don't follow it. Don't push it away. Just be aware of it, and it will pass. When aversion arises, do the same. When you feel anger, irritation, fear, or discomfort, pause. Feel it in your body. Don't believe every word your mind says in that moment. Say to yourself, this is discomfort, and it is here now. Let me sit with it. And like a wave, it will rise and fall. This takes practice. It takes patience. But with time, you will see something amazing. You will see that you don't have to obey every desire, and you don't have to run from every pain. You can stay steady, right in the middle, like the eye of the storm. There is great power in that stillness. You begin to taste freedom, not because life is always pleasant, but because your mind is no longer chained to its ups and downs. You start to live with more ease. Things don't control you the way they used to. Buddha never said that desire and aversion are evil. He simply pointed to the fact that they are unreliable. They rise and fall. They come and go. And if your peace depends on them, you will always be at their mercy. But if you can sit quietly, breathe, and let them move through you without clinging or resisting, then you are no longer a slave to them. You may be wondering, but Master, what about goals? Should I not want to improve or be better? Of course, goals are fine. Growth is good. The problem is not in wanting, it is in needing. When your happiness depends on the result, you suffer. But when you act from peace, with no clinging to outcomes, your life becomes lighter. You become more open, more generous, more compassionate. Not because you're trying hard, but because your heart is no longer tangled in its own desires and fears. And here's something beautiful. The more you release grasping and resisting, the more joy comes naturally. Joy that doesn't need a reason. Joy that comes from being alive, from being aware, from being here in this moment, just as it is. So, what do we do now? We watch. We breathe. We learn to let go. Let go of chasing what you think will make you whole. You are already whole. Let go of pushing away what feels uncomfortable. It is only temporary. Just be still. Be kind to your own mind. Talk to it gently. Watch it patiently. And slowly, the chains will fall away. This is not a one-time practice. It is a way of walking through life. A way of being. Day by day, thought by thought, moment by moment, you free yourself. You stop being pulled, pushed, tossed around by every desire and fear. You become like a mountain, still, strong, and grounded. And you realize, peace was never far away. It was always right here, underneath the noise, waiting for you to stop clinging and just come home. Walking the Noble Eightfold Path. The path to true inner peace and mastery of the mind is not one of quick fixes or overnight transformations. It's a journey, one that takes time, patience, and effort. But just as a traveler who knows the destination can move with purpose, the Noble Eightfold Path is a guide that shows us how to walk towards a life of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. It's not a complicated path, but it's often misunderstood or overlooked because its simplicity can feel elusive. Yet, it is through this simple path that we can transform our lives. Imagine this. You're walking through a dense forest, and it's easy to get lost. There are so many distractions, fallen branches, overgrown vines, and pathways that seem to lead nowhere. But then, you see a path ahead, clear and inviting, and you realize that if you just stay on it, you will find your way to the end. That's what the Noble Eightfold Path does. It clears the path to clarity, peace, and liberation. The Eightfold Path isn't a series of rigid rules, but rather a way of living, a compass that helps us navigate life's challenges. It's made up of 8 interconnected principles, each one guiding us toward becoming better versions of ourselves. These principles, when practiced with dedication, can lead to a mind free from suffering, a life filled with compassion, and an understanding of reality that is profound and liberating. The first step on this path is right view, which means seeing the world as it truly is, free from the distortions of our desires, fears, and misconceptions. So often, we view life through the lens of our ego, interpreting events based on our limited perspective, but true wisdom comes when we begin to understand things as they really are, not as we want them to be. This is the foundation of the path. It's about seeing clearly, without judgment or attachment. The next step is right intention. Right intention is about cultivating the right mindset or motivation in everything we do. It's about acting from a place of compassion, kindness, and wisdom rather than from anger, greed, or ignorance. It's easy to fall into the trap of acting on impulse or out of self-interest, but the moment we align our intentions with compassion and care for others, the entire quality of our life shifts. Then comes right speech. This is not just about the words we speak, but the way in which we communicate with others. Are we truthful? Do we speak with kindness? Do we avoid gossip, harmful speech, or unnecessary criticism? Words are powerful. They can heal or hurt, build or break. When we practice right speech, we learn to speak with integrity, to be honest without being hurtful, and to listen with an open heart. The next step is right action, which speaks to how we conduct ourselves in the world. It's about living ethically, doing no harm, and being mindful of our actions. This isn't just about avoiding outright harm. It's about making conscious decisions that promote peace and well-being for ourselves and others. Right action is about living in harmony with others, being considerate of the impact our actions have, and choosing the path of compassion and respect. Right livelihood follows, and it speaks to the work we do and the way we make a living. Are we engaging in work that is morally sound? Does our livelihood support our personal values and contribute to the well-being of others? Or is it rooted in exploitation or harm? Right livelihood encourages us to seek work that aligns with our principles, work that nourishes our spirit and serves the greater good. The next step is right effort. Right effort is about cultivating the mental discipline needed to avoid negative states of mind and to cultivate positive ones. It's about putting effort into what really matters, developing mindfulness, compassion, and clarity while letting go of the distractions and negative thoughts that keep us from peace. It's about creating positive mental habits and strengthening our resolve to stay on the path even when life challenges us. Following right effort comes right mindfulness. This is the practice of being present, of being aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions without judgment. So much of our suffering comes from the inability to live in the moment. We either dwell on the past or worry about the future, forgetting to be fully present in the here and now. Right mindfulness helps us develop awareness of our inner state and our external actions, fostering a deep sense of clarity and focus. Finally, we come to right concentration, which is the practice of developing a focused, steady mind. It's about cultivating the ability to concentrate deeply and clearly, whether in meditation or in our daily tasks. Right concentration leads to a mind that is peaceful, clear, and undistracted. It's about developing the inner stillness needed to see things as they truly are. Each of these steps is interconnected. They work together to transform our mind, our actions, and our relationship with the world. When we practice right view, our intentions change. When we align our intentions, our speech becomes kinder and more truthful. Right action flows naturally from right speech, and when we live with integrity, we find the right livelihood. The effort we put into our practice nurtures our mindfulness, and mindfulness sharpens our concentration. It's important to understand that walking the Eightfold Path doesn't mean perfection. We will stumble, we will falter, but each step forward, no matter how small, brings us closer to a deeper sense of peace and understanding. The path is not about reaching a destination, but about the journey itself, about growing and evolving, learning to live with greater wisdom and compassion. As you walk the Noble Eightfold Path, remember that it is a path of balance. It's not about doing everything perfectly, it's about understanding when to act and when to pause, when to speak and when to listen. It's about cultivating a mind that is calm, clear, and compassionate, a mind that can meet the challenges of life with equanimity. Imagine walking this path every day, consciously choosing right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. How would your life change? What if every action you took, every word you spoke, and every thought you had was aligned with wisdom and compassion? The path may seem long, but with each step, you are moving closer to the peace and freedom that lies within. Remember, the Noble Eightfold Path is not just for monks or those living in monasteries, it's for all of us, in every moment of our lives. It's a practical guide for living a life of integrity, wisdom, and inner peace. It's a path we can all walk, no matter where we are on our journey. So, take the first step and keep walking. The path is always there, waiting for you to begin. From reaction to response, emotional mastery. In life, we often react. It's instinctual, something happens, and immediately we feel the need to respond. Sometimes, this response comes from a place of anger, fear, or frustration. It's automatic, like a reflex. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why do I react the way I do? Or, what would happen if I didn't react at all? The truth is, the way we respond to life's challenges shapes our experience. It's not about avoiding difficult emotions, but about learning to handle them with wisdom and awareness. We've all had moments where something unexpected happens, and we feel a rush of emotions. Maybe someone says something hurtful, or something doesn't go as planned. In those moments, our immediate reaction can be to get upset, defend ourselves, or even withdraw. It's easy to react, and often, it's the first thing we do. But what if, instead of reacting, we took a moment to pause? What if we chose to respond instead? In Buddhism, we are taught to cultivate mindfulness, the ability to be fully present in the moment. This practice can help us shift from being reactive to being responsive. When we are mindful, we can observe our emotions without judgment. We can notice the anger rising, the frustration building, or the sadness creeping in. And in that moment of awareness, we create space, a space where we can choose how to respond rather than simply reacting. Imagine you're in a conversation, and someone says something that triggers you. Your first instinct might be to argue, defend, or even lash out. But what if, instead of immediately reacting, you took a deep breath, paused, and allowed the feeling to settle? In that moment, you would have the choice to respond with clarity, with kindness, or even with silence. This is the power of mindfulness. It allows you to break the automatic cycle of reaction and choose a more thoughtful, intentional response. The key to emotional mastery is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. Emotions are natural, they come and go, like the tides of the ocean. The goal is not to stop the waves, but to learn how to surf them. When you cultivate emotional awareness, you begin to understand the patterns of your emotions. You recognize when they arise, how they affect your thoughts and actions, and, most importantly, you learn how to manage them. When you stop reacting automatically, you start to notice something incredible. You begin to create space between what happens and how you respond. This space is where your true power lies. It's where you can choose whether to let anger control you, or whether you want to respond with understanding. It's where you can choose to let frustration fade away instead of allowing it to dictate your actions. In that space, you realize that you are not your emotions, and your emotions do not define you. This process takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. But with consistent practice, you can begin to notice the shift. You'll start to find that you're less reactive, less quick to anger or frustration. Instead, you'll find yourself responding with more patience, understanding, and clarity. And when you respond thoughtfully, your interactions with others will improve. You'll find that you're able to handle difficult situations with greater ease, and you'll begin to feel more in control of your emotional state. Buddhism teaches us that suffering comes from attachment to our desires, our fears, our emotions. When we are attached to the idea of how things should be, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. But when we can let go of that attachment and simply observe, we free ourselves from the grip of our emotions. We allow ourselves to be present with what is, rather than being consumed by what we wish it to be. Think about a time when you reacted impulsively. Maybe you said something you later regretted, or you made a decision out of anger. How did that feel? Likely, it left you feeling unsettled, perhaps even ashamed or guilty. Now think about a time when you took a moment to pause and respond thoughtfully. How did that feel? Perhaps you felt more grounded, more at peace with yourself. The difference lies in the space between reaction and response, the space where you can choose to act with wisdom rather than emotion. Emotional mastery doesn't mean that you'll never feel anger, sadness, or frustration again. It means that, when those emotions arise, you'll be able to handle them with more awareness and understanding. You'll be able to recognize them for what they are, temporary experiences that come and go, and you'll be able to choose how to respond rather than letting your emotions control you. One powerful way to practice emotional mastery is through meditation. By setting aside time each day to sit quietly and observe your thoughts and feelings, you create a space for mindfulness to grow. In meditation, you allow yourself to simply be with your emotions without judgment. You don't try to change them or make them go away. You simply observe. And over time, this practice helps you build the skill of responding thoughtfully, instead of reacting impulsively. Another way to practice emotional mastery is by reflecting on your reactions. After a situation that triggered a strong emotional response, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, why did I react that way? What was I really feeling underneath the surface? Could I have responded differently? This kind of self-reflection helps you understand your emotional patterns, and it allows you to make conscious changes over time. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean you'll never feel upset or angry again. It means that you'll be able to handle those emotions with grace and wisdom. It means that you'll be able to choose how you respond, rather than letting your emotions dictate your actions. And in doing so, you'll find more peace, more clarity, and more control over your life. The ability to shift from reaction to response is one of the most powerful tools you can develop on your journey toward emotional mastery. And it's a skill that, like any other, can be cultivated with practice, patience, and mindfulness. So, the next time you feel that rush of emotion, take a step back, breathe, and ask yourself, how do I want to respond? In that moment, you'll find your power, your peace, and your true strength, becoming the calm in the chaos. Imagine a world around you where everything feels like it's in constant motion, like a river rushing towards the unknown, where every moment is filled with distractions, responsibilities, and challenges. Now, picture yourself standing in the middle of this storm, yet you remain still, grounded, unaffected by the chaos that surrounds you. In this moment, you are the calm. This, my friend, is what it means to truly master your mind. Life is often filled with unpredictability, with moments of uncertainty, frustration, and confusion. There are times when it feels like the world is moving so fast, and you are simply trying to keep up. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the noise of life. Your thoughts, emotions, and reactions seem like a constant barrage, like waves crashing against a rock. But what if I told you that amidst all of this, you have the power to be the calm? What if you could be like that rock, unshaken by the storm around you? To become the calm in the chaos is not about avoiding the chaos. It's not about running away from the noise or pretending that the storm doesn't exist. It's about how you respond to it. Think about it for a moment. How often do we get caught up in the drama of life? We react impulsively to situations, allowing our emotions to take control, letting fear or anger dictate our actions. We forget that the true power lies not in reacting, but in choosing how we respond. Buddhism teaches us a simple but profound truth. The mind is not something we must fight against. It's something we can train, something we can cultivate. The peace we seek is not found in the absence of challenges, but in how we navigate through them. It's found in the stillness of the mind, even when the world around us is in turmoil. You see, the practice of mindfulness isn't just about sitting still in silence. It's about carrying that stillness with you in every moment, in every situation, no matter how chaotic it may seem. When you start to understand this, you realize that you don't need to control the world around you. You don't need to force things to be a certain way. You only need to control how you respond. The moment you take a deep breath, center yourself, and pause before reacting, you begin to embody that calm. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are the master of your own responses. This is true freedom. It might not be easy at first. In fact, it might seem nearly impossible. The mind is powerful, and it has a tendency to race, to jump from thought to thought, like a monkey swinging from branch to branch. But just as a monk trains his mind to sit in stillness, so can you. It's a practice, a discipline. It requires patience and persistence. But with each moment you take to observe your thoughts, to let them pass like clouds in the sky, you are slowly training your mind to become the calm. The storm may still come, but now you will face it with grace. The same waves that once threatened to drown you now become something you can ride. And with each challenge you overcome, you grow stronger. You begin to realize that nothing outside of you has the power to shake your inner peace unless you allow it. So, how do you become the calm in the chaos? It starts by understanding that you already have the power within you. It's not something you need to search for outside of yourself. It's there, in the present moment, waiting for you to tap into it. Every time you choose to respond with patience, with kindness, with awareness, you are building that inner strength. Every time you resist the urge to react out of anger or fear, you are reinforcing that sense of calm. Think about the last time you faced a difficult situation. Maybe it was a tough conversation with a loved one, a stressful moment at work, or even something as simple as traffic. In that moment, how did you respond? Did you react impulsively? Or did you take a moment to pause, to breathe, to simply be present with what was happening? The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to respond with clarity, to face challenges without being swept away by them. There is an ancient Zen story that speaks to this very point. A monk once asked his master, "Master, how can I find peace in the midst of chaos?" The master replied, "You are like a lake. The water is always still at the bottom, no matter how much the surface is disturbed. If you can learn to settle your mind in the depths, you will always find peace." This story reminds us that our true nature, our true peace, lies beneath the surface of our chaotic thoughts. We are like that still lake, waiting to be discovered. To become the calm in the chaos is to embrace the present moment fully. It's about surrendering to life as it is, rather than resisting it. When you let go of the need to control, you free yourself from the constant pressure of trying to fix everything. You stop swimming against the current, and instead, you learn to float, to go with the flow. You trust that everything will unfold as it should, and that no matter what happens, you will remain anchored in your own inner peace. The world will always be full of challenges. People will disappoint you, things won't go as planned, and life will sometimes feel overwhelming. But none of that has to disturb your peace. You are not a passive participant in your life. You are the creator of your own experience. When you learn to control your mind, you control your reality. There are days when you will slip, when you will react in ways you wish you hadn't. But remember, this is not about perfection. This is about progress. Each step you take towards becoming more aware of your thoughts, more mindful of your reactions, is a step closer to mastering your mind. And with each step, you get closer to becoming the calm in the chaos. As you continue this journey, remember that it's okay to have setbacks. It's okay to feel the storm at times. What matters is how you come back to center, how you return to that place of stillness, no matter how many times you stray from it. Just like the waves of the ocean, thoughts and emotions will come and go. The key is to remember that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. So, as you walk this path, take a deep breath. Find the stillness within you. Become the calm in the chaos, and watch as your life transforms. Your mind is your greatest ally, and with the right training, it can be the source of limitless peace, strength, and wisdom. Now, as we come to the end of this series, I want to leave you with this thought. The journey of mastering your mind is not a destination, but a lifelong practice. It's a continuous unfolding of who you truly are, a being of peace, wisdom, and compassion. So, as you move forward, remember that you have everything you need within you to overcome anything life throws your way. Be the calm, and the chaos will no longer control you. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May you walk this path with mindfulness, and may your heart always remain peaceful, no matter what storm may come your way. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of viewers subscribe. If you found this series helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's continue this conversation together. Stay peaceful, stay calm, and remember, you are the master of your mind. As you practice mindfulness, you start to realize that the key to overcoming loneliness isn't about finding someone else to fill the space. It's about finding comfort and peace within yourself. The more you practice being present, the more you realize that you are enough as you are. And that's the beauty of mindfulness. It doesn't need to change your circumstances. It simply helps you change how you relate to them. Whether you're surrounded by people or sitting alone, you can be at peace with yourself because you've learned to be present with whatever comes your way. So, next time you find yourself feeling alone, don't rush to fill that space with distractions or thoughts. Instead, pause and practice mindfulness. Be present with your feelings, observe them, and let them pass without clinging to them. In doing so, you'll begin to see that you are never truly alone, because you are always there for yourself. And that, my friend, is where true peace lies, within you, in the stillness of the present moment. Compassion for the self, loving-kindness meditation for solitude. In the quiet spaces of your life, when the world around you seems distant and your thoughts weigh heavily on your heart, it's easy to feel disconnected. Solitude, while a teacher, can also be an overwhelming companion. But in this space of silence, there is a deeper wisdom waiting to be uncovered. The key to unlocking this wisdom isn't to turn away from the stillness, but to approach it with kindness, especially to yourself. You see, we often think that we need to be someone else, someone more perfect, someone who doesn't struggle with loneliness or fear. We chase after this ideal version of ourselves, believing that if we could just become that person, we would find peace. But the truth is, peace doesn't come from being someone else. It comes from fully accepting who you are in this very moment, as you are. Compassion, especially self-compassion, is the foundation of this acceptance. Buddhism teaches us about loving kindness, or metta. It's the kind of love that's not dependent on anyone else, but rather a love that flows from within, first and foremost toward yourself. In times of loneliness, this practice becomes a refuge. It's a way of gently reminding yourself that you are worthy of love, that you deserve peace, and that it's okay to feel what you're feeling without judgment. This loving-kindness meditation, which can be done in moments of solitude, is simple yet profound. It begins with you, just as you are. The first step is to sit quietly and close your eyes. Breathe deeply and let the rush of the outside world slowly fade away. In this moment, you are not rushing to be somewhere or become someone. You are simply here. Now, as you settle into this stillness, silently repeat these words to yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Say these words slowly, allowing them to resonate within you. With each breath, feel these words wrapping around your heart like a warm embrace. Let yourself truly believe in the possibility of your own happiness, safety, and well-being. You deserve it, and it is already within you, even if you don't always feel it. This simple practice is the heart of self-compassion. It's a reminder that in the face of solitude, you are not alone. You have yourself, and that is enough. After a few minutes, you may notice that your mind begins to quiet. The fears and worries that were once so loud become softer, less urgent. You may even feel a sense of peace beginning to take root. This peace is not a fleeting feeling. It's a state of being that is always accessible when we learn to treat ourselves with kindness. Loving-kindness meditation is also a way to soften the harsh voices in your mind. We all have an inner critic, don't we? That voice that tells us we're not good enough, that we're too weak, too alone, too flawed. It's easy to listen to that voice, especially when you're alone. But what if you could silence it? or at least soften its grip? What if, instead of listening to the critic, you could respond with a loving voice of your own? When the voice says, "You're not enough," you can gently reply, "I am enough, just as I am." This is the power of compassion. It's the ability to replace self-judgment with self-acceptance. The ability to look at yourself and say, "I am worthy of love, even when I am alone." It's this compassionate mindset that allows us to embrace solitude, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity to connect more deeply with ourselves. But loving kindness isn't just about words. It's also about actions. As you continue to practice this meditation, notice how it starts to affect the way you treat yourself throughout your day. Are you kind to yourself when things don't go as planned? Do you forgive yourself when you make mistakes? Or do you criticize yourself harshly? The way you treat yourself in moments of loneliness speaks volumes about how you view your own worth. Through loving kindness, you learn to treat yourself with the same care you would offer to a dear friend. You learn that your own well-being is important, even in the midst of solitude. It's easy to forget that loneliness is not a sign of failure. It's simply a part of life, a part of the human experience. But we often make the mistake of thinking that being alone means we are lacking something. It's easy to see loneliness as something to avoid, something to fill up with distractions or external validation. But true peace, as Buddhism teaches us, comes not from the outside world, but from within. And when we approach ourselves with loving kindness, we start to heal the wounds that loneliness can create. We start to feel complete, not because we have everything we think we need, but because we have ourselves. And that is enough. This is why loving kindness meditation is such a powerful tool for those who feel alone. It's a reminder that you are enough, as you are. It's a way to turn inward and find comfort in your own company. It's a way to heal from the inside out, slowly but surely. So, the next time you find yourself feeling lonely or overwhelmed, take a moment to sit quietly and offer yourself the same kindness you would offer to someone you love. Allow those words to fill your heart, and feel the peace that comes from knowing that you are, indeed, worthy of love. The path to inner peace is often a quiet one. It's not loud or dramatic. It's in the stillness. It's in the small, everyday moments of self-compassion. Loving kindness meditation isn't just a practice. It's a way of being. And when you begin to live with kindness toward yourself, you will find that the loneliness you once feared becomes a gentle companion on your journey. In the silence, you will discover that you are not alone after all. You are with yourself, and that is the greatest gift of all. Walking the Eightfold Path, a guide to purpose and solitude. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe gently. Let the noise of the world fall away, even if only for a short time. In the quiet, I will tell you something ancient, something real, something simple. There is a path, a clear, peaceful path, made not of stone or steps, but of understanding. It is called the Eightfold Path. This path does not promise you wealth. It does not guarantee that all your problems will vanish. But it offers something greater, a way to live with meaning, especially when life feels empty. When you are alone, when the house is too quiet, when memories echo louder than the present moment, you might ask yourself, why am I still here? This path can help you find an answer, not in words, but in how you live each day. In Buddhism, we do not run from suffering. We do not deny that life can feel hard, or lonely, or unfair. But we look at it, gently. We turn toward it, not away. The Eightfold Path is like a lantern in a dark forest. It doesn't push the darkness away, but it helps you walk without fear. When people hear path, they think of a destination. But this path is not about getting somewhere else. It is about being fully where you are. It is about how you speak, how you think, how you act. It is how you wake up each morning and how you lay your head down at night. It teaches you to live, not perfectly, but wisely. And the beauty of this path is, you do not need anyone else to begin it. You do not need a crowd. You do not need approval. You only need your own sincere heart. If you are alone right now, this is not a weakness. This is your space to begin. The first part of this path is understanding. To understand that life is full of change, and pain, and beauty, that nothing stays the same. If you are suffering, you are not being punished. If you are alone, you are not forgotten. Understanding this helps you stop fighting life, and begin walking with it. Then comes intention. Not big dreams or loud promises, but quiet intention. The kind where you say to yourself, today, I will be kind. Today, I will be honest with myself. Today, I will try to harm no one, including me. These intentions are seeds. They grow slowly, but they grow strong. Next is speech. Words are like wind, soft or sharp. When you are alone, even your inner words matter. What do you tell yourself when no one is listening? The Eightfold Path teaches us to speak gently, to speak truth, to speak words that heal instead of harm. Then comes action, not grand gestures, but small, steady choices. Washing the cup with care, feeding the birds, choosing not to hurt even when you are hurting. In your actions, you build a life. A peaceful life is built in small moments of mindful doing. Livelihood is next. You may be retired. You may no longer work. But livelihood is not just about earning money. It is about how you live. Do you live in a way that brings more peace into the world? Do you carry less greed, less anger, less fear into each day? That, too, is livelihood. Then comes effort. But not the kind of effort that tires you. Not the struggle to be someone else. This is a gentle effort. The effort to return. When your mind wanders to sadness, you gently bring it back. When you fall, you get up, not with force, but with care. Mindfulness follows. To be aware of your breath, aware of the sky outside, aware of your tea warming your hands. Mindfulness is not about forcing your mind to be still. It is about noticing where it goes and gently guiding it back to now. And finally, concentration. This is not about closing your eyes and trying hard to empty your thoughts. It is about focusing the mind on something steady, like the breath, like a candle, like a prayer. Over time, your mind becomes clear, like a still pond. All 8 parts of this path are connected. They are not steps to finish, but ways to walk. They are not rules, but reminders. And you do not need to be a monk to live this way. You do not need to wear robes or chant in temples. You can live this path in your home, with your memories, with your quiet days. Many people think that purpose must come from great achievements or big rules. But the Eightfold Path shows us that purpose can come from being deeply present in each small act. You can sweep the floor and find peace. You can water a plant and feel connected. You can sit in silence and feel alive. When you walk this path, your solitude becomes something sacred. It is no longer empty time to escape from, it is rich time to return to. You may still miss people. You may still long for voices from the past. But you no longer fear being alone. You start to see that you are not truly alone. You are with yourself. And that is a relationship worth tending. Even if you have walked through sorrow, through grief, through the silence of loss, you can begin again. Right now, in this moment, you can choose to speak kindly, act gently, think clearly. That is all this path asks of you. If you fall, the path does not disappear. It is always beneath your feet. It is quiet, like the earth. It waits for your next step. So sit, breathe, begin. You do not need to change the whole world. You only need to be here, now, with sincerity. That is enough. That is the path. And as you walk it, not only will you find peace, you may find that solitude was never emptiness at all. It was space for something beautiful to grow, something you carried inside you all along. Letting go, releasing regret, guilt, and past attachments. Sometimes, we carry the weight of the past like an invisible burden. It's as if we are tied to every decision we made, every mistake we think we've committed, and every person we think we've hurt. This weight can make it hard to move forward in life, especially when we are alone. We dwell on the things we could have done differently, the things we should have said or didn't say, the love we lost, or the opportunities we missed. We hold on to regret and guilt, like they are part of our identity. And, in doing so, we remain chained to our past. But what if letting go of these burdens could bring us the peace we've been searching for all along? In the teachings of Buddhism, there's a profound understanding of how attachment to the past keeps us from truly living in the present. It is said that attachment is the root of suffering. But attachment isn't just about holding on to things. It's also about holding on to feelings, memories, and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. These attachments form a kind of mental prison. We hold on to guilt for things we cannot change and regret for the paths we did not take. But in holding on, we only make ourselves more miserable. Imagine this. You are walking through a dense forest with a heavy backpack. It's filled with stones, each stone representing a regret or a guilt from your past. At first, the backpack isn't too heavy. But as you walk, the weight of the stones begins to slow you down. You struggle to move forward. The more you carry, the more exhausted you feel, and the more difficult it becomes to reach your destination. What if you were to stop, take off the backpack, and leave the stones behind? The path would suddenly feel lighter, your steps more assured. Letting go of what weighs you down gives you the freedom to move forward. The idea of letting go is not about forgetting the past, nor is it about denying the reality of what happened. It's about releasing the hold the past has on you, so you can live in the present. This is not an easy task, especially when the emotions attached to these memories feel so raw. It takes time, practice, and, above all, self-compassion. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises when we become attached to the idea of what should have been. But the truth is, the past is gone. We cannot change it. We can only change how we relate to it. One powerful way to begin the process of letting go is through mindfulness. Mindfulness invites us to be present with our thoughts and emotions without judgment. When we sit quietly and observe our regrets or feelings of guilt, we allow them to exist without feeding them. Instead of seeing them as part of our identity, we begin to see them for what they are: temporary thoughts and emotions that do not define us. In those moments of awareness, we can start to let go, slowly but surely. Letting go also means forgiving ourselves. Often, we are our own harshest critics. We carry the weight of self-blame and shame, believing that we are unworthy of peace or happiness because of our past actions. But Buddhism teaches us that we are all capable of change. We are all deserving of compassion and forgiveness, including from ourselves. When we release our own self-judgment, we open the door to healing. We realize that we did the best we could with what we knew at the time. Now, we can learn, grow, and move forward with a lighter heart. Another aspect of letting go is releasing our attachment to the idea of control. So much of our suffering comes from trying to control things outside of our reach. We think if we could just control the outcome of a situation or the behavior of others, we would be happy. But the reality is, control is an illusion. Life has a way of unfolding as it will, and no amount of worry or regret can change what has happened. What we can control is our response. By letting go of our need to control, we create space for acceptance, peace, and freedom. The Buddha, in his teachings, spoke about the importance of non-attachment. This doesn't mean we should become cold or indifferent to life. It means we learn to hold things lightly. We enjoy the people and experiences that come into our lives without clinging to them. We appreciate the moments of happiness without fearing their loss. In the same way, we allow ourselves to grieve and heal without letting that grief define us. Non-attachment allows us to live fully, without the fear that comes from holding on too tightly. It is said that when we let go of the past, we free ourselves to experience life as it truly is. The present moment is all we have. But when we are caught in the past, we miss the beauty of what is right in front of us. The people we meet, the simple joys of life, and the opportunities that arise, they all go unnoticed when we are burdened by regret and guilt. By letting go, we allow ourselves to be fully present and open to the possibilities that the future holds. Of course, letting go doesn't mean that we never feel sadness, grief, or pain. It's a natural part of life. But when we learn to let go, we no longer allow these emotions to control us. We experience them, but we don't let them define us. We find a balance between feeling and releasing, between holding on and letting go. One of the most powerful practices in Buddhism is the practice of sitting with discomfort. This means not running away from difficult emotions, but allowing them to exist without attaching ourselves to them. By sitting with discomfort, we learn that it doesn't have to last forever. Emotions, like everything else, are impermanent. They come and go. And when we let go of our need to control them or hold on to them, we experience greater freedom. In the end, letting go is about freedom. Freedom from the past, freedom from guilt, and freedom from the burden of regret. It's about learning to live in the present moment without being weighed down by what has already happened. It's about finding peace in the understanding that we are not defined by our past mistakes, but by our capacity to grow, change, and embrace the future. As we walk through life, we will continue to face challenges and make mistakes. But if we can learn to let go of what no longer serves us, we can walk with greater ease and peace. We don't have to carry the weight of the past with us. We can choose to set it down, one step at a time, and live the life we were always meant to live, free, open, and present in the moment. And in doing so, we find the peace that we've been searching for, not in the absence of pain, but in the freedom to move beyond it. Interbeing, how you're never truly alone in the web of life. There is a profound truth that Buddhism teaches us, one that can shift the way we view loneliness forever. It's a simple idea, yet it's one that can be so deeply healing when truly understood. You are never truly alone. In this world, every being, every moment, every action is interconnected. This is the concept of interbeing, and it holds the key to understanding that even in our moments of solitude, we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting by a river, watching the water flow. You see the ripples, the movement, the reflections of the sky above. Now, look a little closer. You realize that the water is not just water. It is shaped by the rocks beneath, the trees along the banks, the rain that has fallen, and the clouds in the sky. The river's flow depends on countless factors, seen and unseen, near and far. In this same way, we, as human beings, are shaped by everyone and everything around us. Our lives are not isolated. They are part of a greater flow, a grand, interwoven tapestry. This truth is deeply embedded in Buddhist teachings. In the Heart Sutra, the core teaching of Buddhism, it says that all things are empty of inherent existence. This means that nothing stands alone. Every being, every object, every experience is part of a web of relationships that support and influence each other. You are part of this web, and the web is part of you. When we understand interbeing, we begin to realize that our isolation is not as real as we might think. Our feelings of loneliness arise from the illusion that we are separate, that we stand apart from everything else. But in reality, we are connected to the world and to others in ways that are often invisible to the naked eye. Each breath you take is shared with the trees that give us oxygen, the animals that share the land with us, the earth beneath our feet. Each action you make ripples through the lives of others, just as their actions impact yours. When we start to see the world through the lens of interbeing, we understand that every person, every animal, every tree, and every stone is a part of the same whole. There is a unity that runs through all things, a deep connection that binds us together, even when we feel the most alone. When you feel lonely, remember that you are surrounded by this interwoven web. You may not be able to see it, but it is always there. The people you love, the moments you cherish, and even the experiences you've had in the past are still part of you. You are never isolated. Think about how you were connected to your ancestors, who lived before you. They too were once alone in their time, struggling with their own fears, joys, and challenges. But they lived their lives, made choices, and passed on their wisdom and strength to you. In the same way, your actions today will shape the future for those who come after you. You are part of a never-ending flow of life, and the threads of connection stretch far beyond your own lifetime. Even in the quietest moments of solitude, there is an unseen community. The monk who sits in meditation on a distant mountaintop, the people across the world struggling with their own loneliness, the trees and animals that silently share space with us. They are all part of this interwoven existence. Their lives and yours are like threads in a vast, intricate fabric that no one can see in its entirety, but that connects us all. The Buddha, in his teachings, often spoke of this interconnectedness. He taught that to truly awaken, we must not just seek our own peace, but also recognize the peace and suffering of others. We are all walking this path together, even if it feels like we are walking alone. When we accept the reality of interbeing, loneliness no longer feels like an isolated experience. It becomes something temporary, something that arises because we are momentarily forgetting our deep connections to the world around us. If you look closely enough, you'll realize that you are supported by countless lives, even when you feel like no one is there. Your life matters, and it is woven into the lives of all those around you. This understanding can bring great comfort in moments of solitude. You don't need to physically be with someone to feel connected. The warmth of a friend's smile, the beauty of a flower in bloom, the sound of birds singing, all of these things speak to you, even in your solitude. They remind you that you are part of the great web of life, where everything is connected and nothing is truly separate. So, the next time you feel that pang of loneliness, take a moment to remember the web. Close your eyes and feel the earth beneath you, the air around you, and the life that continues on, all interconnected. You are not alone. You never have been. The world, in its infinite beauty, is always there, surrounding you with love and life. And when you truly understand this, a deep sense of peace will wash over you, for you will know that no matter where you are or how you feel, you are an integral part of something much larger than yourself. The practice of mindfulness and meditation helps to cultivate this awareness of interbeing. By sitting quietly and observing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations, you begin to see how everything is connected. Each thought you have is part of the larger flow of the mind. Each feeling you experience is shared by countless others in different ways. With practice, you begin to recognize the interconnectedness in every moment. You are not separate from your emotions, your thoughts, or the world around you. You are part of it all. There is a deep peace that comes with this realization. The sense of loneliness, the feeling of being abandoned, starts to dissolve when you understand that you are always part of this interconnected web. You don't need to search for connection outside of yourself. It's already there, within you, and around you. And once you begin to recognize this, you will find that even in the moments of silence and solitude, you are never truly alone. The great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often spoke of interbeing as a way to heal the suffering of loneliness. He would say that when we truly understand interbeing, we realize that we are already loved, already supported, already connected to everything. When you see the world this way, every moment becomes an opportunity to connect with life itself. You no longer have to wait for someone else to fill the emptiness. Instead, you can fill it by recognizing the love, support, and connection that is already present, even in the quietest, loneliest of moments. And so, with each passing day, remind yourself, you are never truly alone. The world is waiting to embrace you, to show you the beauty of the interwoven threads of life. And when you understand this, you will find that the very loneliness you once feared becomes a source of great peace. Because in your solitude, you can hear the whispers of the world, and in those whispers, you will discover that you are never alone. The peace beyond loneliness, liberation through inner awakening. When we begin this journey, it's easy to get lost in the idea that we are alone, isolated, and distant from the world. It can feel like a heavy weight, one that pulls you further into darkness, making everything seem distant and cold. But if you've been following the wisdom we've shared through these lessons, you may have already begun to see the light. That loneliness, that feeling of being separated from others, is not something that needs to be feared. In fact, it can be the doorway to one of the most profound experiences of peace in your life. You see, when we reach the point of true understanding, we begin to realize something crucial. The concept of loneliness itself is built on an illusion. Yes, you heard that right. It's not the isolation or the stillness that causes pain. It's our perception of those things, our attachment to them, and our identification with them that creates suffering. This is one of the deepest teachings of Buddhism. The idea that we are separate from the world, from others, and from ourselves is a misunderstanding. In truth, there is no such thing as being truly alone. Buddhism teaches us that everything is interconnected. This is called interbeing. We are all part of the same fabric of existence, woven together by the countless experiences, people, and energies that have shaped our lives. Every single moment is an expression of the whole. So, even when you feel like you are alone, you are not. You are simply experiencing a moment of detachment. But that moment will pass when you realize that nothing in life is truly separate. You are not cut off from the world. You are part of it. The truth is that the universe, life, and all of existence are part of you as much as you are part of them. Now, let's talk about the peace that comes when you grasp this truth. Imagine for a moment that you have spent your whole life searching for something peace, joy, love, and you believe that you could only find it outside of yourself. Maybe you thought that once you found the right relationship, the right job, or the right set of circumstances, everything would finally make sense. But now, you begin to see that the peace you've been searching for was never out there to begin with. It was always inside you. It was always there, waiting for you to stop searching and just sit in the quiet of your own heart. This is the freedom Buddhism speaks of, the peace that comes from realizing that you have everything you need right now. It's not about reaching some distant future or achieving something outside of yourself. It's about awakening to the present moment and realizing that this moment, right here, is complete and whole. You don't need to change anything about yourself. You don't need to be different or do something extraordinary. All that is required is for you to accept and embrace the present moment with all its imperfections. When you begin to live from this place of awareness, you will notice that the loneliness fades away. It's replaced with a deep sense of calm, a deep knowing that everything is as it should be. Even in the moments of stillness, you will no longer feel abandoned or lost. Instead, you will feel at home within yourself. And in that space, a remarkable thing happens. The world around you begins to mirror that inner peace. Your relationships, your experiences, and your understanding of life begin to transform. You start to see that every person, every interaction, and every challenge is simply another opportunity to deepen your connection to this vast, interconnected web of existence. You see, when you understand this truth, you no longer need to search for external validation. You no longer need to rely on others to fill the emptiness you may have once felt. The emptiness was never real. It was just a projection of your mind. And once you free yourself from that illusion, you become whole, not in a way that requires anyone else to complete you, but in a way that allows you to be at peace with who you are, exactly as you are. But how do we get to this place? How do we reach a point where we can truly say that we are at peace, no longer plagued by loneliness, no longer seeking something that we believe is missing? The answer lies in the practice of awakening to the truth of who we really are and the nature of the world around us. You don't need to search for peace. You don't need to search for love. The key is to recognize that everything you've been seeking has always been right here. The first step is simply to become aware, to awaken to the present moment. And once you begin to live from that awareness, everything shifts. The old patterns of seeking, of searching, of clinging to attachments, those begin to fall away. And what's left is a sense of liberation. You are no longer bound by the false ideas of loneliness, isolation, or incompleteness. This is the essence of Buddhism, the path to liberation. It's not about becoming something else or achieving a higher state of being. It's about realizing the truth of who you are, here and now. When you see through the illusion of separation, you realize that you are never truly alone. You are connected to everything, to everyone, to the universe itself. And in that connection, there is peace. There is joy. There is freedom. The moment you realize this, you are no longer dependent on anything outside of yourself for happiness. You are free to live your life in harmony with the world around you, knowing that you are an integral part of it. You can walk through the world with a deep sense of understanding and love, knowing that the peace you seek has always been within you. So, as we come to the end of this journey, I want to leave you with one final thought. The next time you feel the weight of loneliness, remember this: loneliness is not a burden. It's an opportunity. An opportunity to connect with yourself, to connect with the present moment, and to awaken to the truth that you are never alone. The world, the universe, and all of existence are always with you. You are a part of it all, and that, my friend, is the greatest peace you could ever find. Now, I invite you to take a deep breath, sit in silence for a moment, and feel the truth of these words. You are enough. You are complete. You are whole. And in that realization, you have found the peace beyond loneliness.